Welcome to my backyard. It's the middle of August in the blazing heat here in Central Texas, and I wanted to show you in my backyard things that are making it. We are only going to look at perennials. I don't do very many annuals anymore. It's just not worth it. But let's take a look around and see what is making it. There are lots of wonderful things out here to see. Starting out, I wanted to just give you a far off view of the back of the house plants. And there's zoysia grass here, just like in the front. And if I turn slowly, we have a creek and a little trail that we've put in. And the back side of the property has a lot more trees, and I'm just continuing in a circle. We have a fire pit, and there's a pollinator garden back there, and some more smaller little garden beds. So now we'll get a little closer, and there's my sweet dog. She's always by me. So when we get closer, things that are really happy and making it, I would say number one is this Berkeley sedge, and I have repeated that all the way down the garden. I love their little flouncy skirts. And I have a lot of roses here. These are knockout roses, and I would never take them out, even though they look terrible right now, because they do look fabulous in the spring and fall. They are so unhappy right now though. But as soon as the weather breaks, I will give them a little trim and some fertilizer, and they'll be ready for their fall preview. Indian hawthorn is struggling, and I'm not sure whether this is going to stay. It did not do well after the freeze, and it did come back, but it still has never looked very good. I love the abelias, and these are definitely happy here. And ground cover, this is a wonderful ground cover. This is ponyfoot, and I have not had a problem with this at all. More roses. This is drift rose, and again, they look really terrible because of our tremendous heat. But here is a little patch of what they look like. This will be covered with these beautiful small rosettes in the spring and fall. I do have a foundation all around the house of boxwood, and this little group is doing great. I continue the use of this Berkeley sedge, and there's more boxwood over here. Now, some of the boxwood are new, and they are struggling a little bit. The jury is out on whether they are going to make it. Some of them are really struggling in this heat. I did not plant them at the right time, and so I have put them in jeopardy. We'll see how they do. Continuing on the other side, I have more of the little boxwoods. I imagined a really pretty hedge of boxwood going down the stairs. And then plumbago. Look at this beautiful plumbago. It has not cared a bit about the heat, so definitely need to add more of these in the yard. They freeze all the way back to the ground, so they're not evergreen, but they sure do put on a beautiful show in the spring and summer. And more boxwood, because when everything is gone in the winter, I love to have a little bit of green. Another drift rose. This is a red drift rose that is not producing anything right now. And this is a form of Russian sage. It's called denim and lace, and it is not happy. It's not doing well. I'm very surprised, because all the Russian sage I've ever had has done great. So I'm not sure what its problem is, but I will probably be taking them out, putting in something else. And then this is a wonderful cherry laurels. These are young plants, and the thinking is they will make a nice screen between the neighbors and the front area. And all of my annuals, my potted plants, are over here trying to stay out of the sun. Normally I would have these out over by my front walkway for people to enjoy, but right now they're all huddled over here in the shade trying not to burn up. So let's not take a look at those too much. We've got this fun dry creek that we added all the way down the property, and that is a nice way to not have grass and gives it a nice bit of interest. And then here is something that I really enjoy. It fills in some of these larger spaces, and this is skullcap. They're low, they stay very low, they're only 1 foot tall, and they kind of are related to the Salvia gregae, and they have a little pink flower on them sometimes. Right now they're too hot, and you can see I have not buried my drip irrigation back here. And then I have lots of yarrow, and they are struggling a little right now in this heat, but the yarrow seem to always make it through the incredible heat. So I'm not sure about whether they're gonna stay or not. We'll have to see. Back here in the shade, I don't have much shade. I have a plumeria, but in the shade, this is a lamb's ear. I've got 2 lamb's ear here. Ligularia, or leopard plant, is doing great as long as it gets water. And I water this bed twice a week, and it is on drip irrigation. But one of the stars back here is Turk's cap. Look how pretty. This dies back, but it comes up quickly in the spring. And this variety has a really pretty pink Turk's cap. So you can get reds or pinks. And if we continue over here, across the little bridge, I had several trees come down in our horrible apocalyptic freeze. So what was a fully shaded garden bed is now full sun. So things are struggling. I've had to pull out a lot of things here that I planted that were for shade. But Abelia, I put 3 Abelias right in the middle, so they do fill this space nicely. They're flouncy little arms, so you can choose to let Abelia just do this, you know, just kind of more of a wild look, or you can trim it and have it look more like a manicured hedge. But back here, I prefer the wild look. I do have 1 oak leaf hydrangea. This is my experiment, and I have definitely will have more of these. I am so excited that there is a hydrangea that we can have here in Central Texas. There's nothing blooming right now, but you can see there was a time when I had some beautiful bloom stalks. It had quite a few. It is getting a little burned back here, but it's okay. Now here is a real story of plant in the wrong place. This is gold dust acuba, supposed to be in the shade, and as soon as the heat breaks, I will be moving these poor things. I had 3 of them. But their sisters are back there in real shade, and they're just as happy as can be. So these will be moving soon. And then I have to come up with new things to put in this sunny garden. And there is a fern that's supposed to be in the shade that's so unhappy. He'll be moving too. And I feel like bird baths are so important. Keeping lots of water available for your birds. I also just use saucers for plants. I keep those filled, and the squirrels and the birds really appreciate it. While I'm back here, I would like to draw your attention to some ground cover. So this is just those chips. They're nice and big, and they take a long time to decompose. And we have brought just 20 bagfuls from Lowe's or Home Depot and spread them around, and it keeps the weeds down, and I just think it's a much better look. And some of the trees that fell, we chopped them up and made nice little stools for kids. And I have lots of bird feeders back here. There's probably 14 different bird feeders in this house, and hummingbirds too. So let's continue. I'm going to show you a few more things that are making it. So in the back of the property, here is Beautyberry. In the shade, in the full shade. It is so happy back here in the shade. You do not want this in the sun. And I have the gold dust akuba and the puppy. And then here's my pollinator garden. I wanted to show you too, I have a persimmon tree and it's starting to ripen. I have tried a few. When they get to be almost black, they're ready to eat. They're not a really good fruit because they're mostly seeds, but it was fun to grow this. Okay, so this is Greg's Mist, and right now it's super hot, but most of the time this is doing great, and the butterflies show up as soon as the sun comes up over in this area, and they love these little purple mist flowers. And this guara is a real magnet for pollinators. And then my beautiful Pride of Barbados, and the more water it gets, the more flowers it gets. So right now it's still doing okay, but it has definitely done better. And in the back here I have some more of the Turk's cap. These are young, trying to make it here. Along the side of the property, we have made these little garden beds. We've come in with tons of dirt to make these berms. It's definitely better to plant here in Central Texas in raised beds. So to make a raised bed, you just get some kind of edging, and we use this white limestone edging that you can buy at a landscape supply store. And then you fill the center with a good foot of soil, and you can plant. The plants are much happier. This is Russian sage, and it's the happiest plant in the backyard. It's doing fantastic, and it's covered with these little purple stalks, and I love how it fills the garden. I have so many garden spaces, and anything that will grow with less water I'm so happy to have. Here's a firecracker bush that is struggling, not sure why. I probably need to check the irrigation tubing. THRYALLIS, I have several here, and they are just low water users and enjoy the heat. And on the side here, I have a lot of liriope. This is a new bed that is struggling, so we're not going to look at this one too much. But I wanted to show you that lantana is very happy. So here's another raised bed. We just added a bunch of dirt to a big pile and surrounded it with limestone, and we were able to make some plants happy. So I have some more THRYALLIS here and a Mexican sage bush. Look at that big thing. These guys love the heat. Unfortunately, they do die back in the winter, but they do they look so lovely all spring and summer and fall. They're about 4 feet high and covered with bees. Look at this. You see those bees in there, so busy. Bees and butterflies. And then there's another THRYALLIS on this side. Come in from the street to come down this little pathway, and I have created a little side walkway garden here, and this is new, and I was given some beautiful iris from one neighbor and some daylilies from another neighbor, and what fabulous gifts they have been. So they're kind of spent here on this end of the garden, but some of them are starting to re-bloom. Got some skullcap in here and some old amaryllis bulbs in here. But as you move down, for some reason, this whole end of this little pathway has decided to rebloom, and I am so happy. They were beautiful in the spring, and now they're blooming again. Yay, daylilies. So if you don't have any daylilies, you definitely need to get some. Look at these beautiful faces. So I will continue to divide these iris and divide the daylilies and just try to fill this garden bed as much as I can. And then this side of the area, we have a little fire pit here, and the fire pit walkway gardens definitely needed some oomph. So right now I've just got Asiatic jasmine and Berkeley sedge. So I'm definitely going to add more fun things in this little walkway to the fire pit. And the last thing I wanted to share with you all is this fantastic plant here, Duranta. So it is, I have two here, and it dies back in the winter, but it comes back in the spring, and it is covered with these purple, dangly, little, just purple flowers. Look how look at its growth pattern. If I put my hand behind it, maybe you can see better. Isn't that beautiful? And of course, it's a big pollinator magnet. It's so pretty. And it just gets watered twice a week. So I definitely recommend Duranta. The Duranta does have a seed in the fall, a white seed, and I do pick those off because those seeds are poisonous to dogs if they were to eat those seeds. So I'm careful to pull those off. Look at these giant bees. So I hope that was helpful and you picked up some new plants and ideas for having a garden that is enjoyable but doesn't take too much time and effort. There are a world of plants out there that fit that bill. So I also wanted to share with you, just in case you didn't know about this, this is from the Texas A&M AgriLife group, and this is a wonderful resource and guide on things that we should be planting in our area. So this one was especially made for Central Texas. And so everything in this book has been tried and true and proven to do well. So what they've done is they've added great pictures and information on what to plant in your area. And it tells you there's a section on shade and on full sun and part sun. And it's broken up into trees, shrubs, perennials, annuals. And so this is my Bible. I love this book. I use it all the time. They put out a new one every few years. And when I actually put in something, I make notes. I mark, I have this now, how it's doing. And I have to say, everything that I plant that came from this book does fantastic if I follow the directions and put it in the right place. So I hope that you guys get yourself one of these. They are available at all the better nurseries, and they are normally free. Okay, so thank you for joining. And if you like this content and would like more, please like and subscribe. And one more thing, I would love it if you would comment below and tell all of us, number one, what zone you're in, and number two, what is really making it in your yard that you'd like to share with us. Because it's a tough gardening here, and we need help. So please share with us what is growing in your backyard. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.